You're such an asshole.
AssholeConsulting.com. How you guys doing? The old Clairmeister here. A young man writes, I like to keep him anonymous because he has a very unique name, and he's a repeat customer, so. Hi, Aaron, new request. Please provide a quote for a video. I can't believe that CNN still, after more than 1 year since Trump's election, talks about Russia's meddling in the election. Isn't everyone sick of listening to this by now? Yeah, they probably are. Just like Benghazi. People were sick and tired about hearing about Benghazi. Whether the bad stuff happened or not. After a while, you keep beating it into people's heads. It's like going to church every day. You get sick and tired of the message. Does CNN realize how they must hurt their popularity and their viewership by belaboring this Russia thing instead of talking about so many other things that are going on in the world that are much more important and recent? Thanks, and again, won't mention his name. All right. You probably don't misunderstand the media and journalists and journalism majors. But this is the reason why they keep harping on this, and we're going to go and explain it here a little bit more. You cannot look at CNN as a money-making operation that is empirical, cares about reality, and cares about the truth. CNN and most media is inherently flawed because the people who pursue journalism as a career are inherently flawed. When you are, it's no different than the 17-year-old high school junior who thinks, I'm going to become a child psychologist, when she herself is still a child. She herself is not an adult. She herself has no clue about neurology, neurochemistry, or anything like that. And she thinks she knows enough and she's smart enough to go and tell other people who are much wiser and experienced than she is what's wrong with them mentally and psychologically. Same thing with journalism majors. Don't look at CNN, Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, or Jeffrey Zucker, who's the president of CNN. Don't look at them as they are today. Look at them as their arrogant, egotistical 17-year-old selves. Right? And then ask the question, why did they go into journalism at such a young age? You would think something like journalism and consulting people about their mental health and their lives would require someone who's experienced, a wise man or a wise aged woman. Somebody who has been down that path. Someone who would be able to have seen everything and has the wisdom and the experience in the real world that when they were to critique society, which is what journalism is, they would know what the hell they're talking about. So you would think anyone who's intellectually honest would say, well, maybe I ought to live a couple of years before I become a journalist and start writing and pontificating. Whereas today, not even today, going back to my generation, even before, why did people become journalists? Why did people major in journalism? Because I want to change the world at 17 years old. Which means they're morons, they're inexperienced, they're still children, but above all else, they're arrogant. Now, adding to that, they're stupid. These are sheep. And when you go through school, K through 12, K through college, especially when you get to college, it's leftist indoctrination. That's all it is. There is no journalism anymore in its old sense. It's like the word racism. It doesn't mean anything anymore now, right? Journalism is just basically how to bitch and whine about rich people, or if you want to go down the racial politics, white people, or if you want to go down the sexual politics, males. And they'll come up with new ones, people who don't have mental disorders, people who are straight, people who are Christian. Your goal as a journalism major is to bring about the equal redistribution of wealth, to have social justice, to not only the equal distribution of wealth, to get rid of anything beautiful, or to get rid of excellence, to get rid of perfection, to get rid of better, to get rid of worse. It is to bring about everything being gray, blah, bland, beige, average, equal. That's what it is. You are going to have a crusade. You are going to bring about justice. And who gives a damn if it's morally right or not? You're a lazy, arrogant, and above all, egotistical 17-year-old child. And you're going to go tell the rest of the world how to live. Right? And now you just add on 30 years and some gray hair. You got Anderson Cooper. Right? Now, I looked this up. Let me show you. I'm not making this up. Jeffrey Zucker. Tell me if this doesn't sound like a smug little piece of shit you'd love to beat the hell out of. Zucker was born into a Jewish family in Homestead, Florida, near Miami. His father, Matthew, was a cardiologist. His mother, Arlene was a school teacher. Holy fucking rich kid, Batman. Do you think this guy ever worked a real job in his life? You're going to find out he hasn't. He was captain of the North Miami Senior High School tennis team. Editor of the school newspaper and a teenage freelance reporter for the Miami Herald. See, already he was going to tell people what to think and how he's going to change the world. Having a cushy little pampered ass. Being the son of a doctor. He graduated from North Miami Senior High in 1982. Before college, he took part in Northwestern's National High School Institute program for journalism. See, already he's going to tell people what to do and what to think. Zucker went on to Harvard University. He was president of the school newspaper, the Harvard Crimson, during his senior year. And as such, he encouraged the decades-old prank rivalry with the Harvard Lampoon, headed by future NBC colleague Conan O'Brien. Zucker graduated from Harvard in 1986 with what? Engineering? Accounting? Something real? No. Arts and American history. Suck my fucking dick. What? That's nothing. This is a lazy, spoiled trust fund baby fuck. And then you find out, career at NBC. He was not admitted to Harvard Law School because he's going to go to law in 1986. So when did he graduate? Age 86. And he worked at NBC. I wonder how he got his connections there. Coverage of the Olympics. He was producer of the Today Show. 1989, and at 26 became the executive producer in 1992. How? With an arts history degree. President in 2000. President NBC Television, executive producer of NBC, president and CEO of NBC Universal, Disney, CNN. Okay, he hasn't worked a real job in his life. And his career was handed to him. His entire life was handed to him. And it should show you that this schmo back in the early 80s, late 70s, he was going to run the school newspaper and tell people what to think, and I'm going to major in this and that. It's the same guy. He just ain't got no hair, and maybe his pubes are getting a little gray. He never had any intention Jeffrey Zucker had no intention of reporting news, reporting facts, reporting reality, or advancing society. He only has a leftist agenda and crusaderism and heroism and some kind of social justice warrior crusade in his mind. Now, admittedly, he was probably a proto-social justice warrior. They didn't have those back in the 80s. But that's what he is. That's what all journalism majors are. And it's my generation. And I remember going to school with these people. And they were all like, well, I hate George Bush and George Bush Sr. This is back in the day. I'm like, well, why do you hate him? You're 17, you're 18, you know, oh, he's a Republican. Well, yeah, so, and that's all it was, is that he was a Republican. It's like, no. You journalism majors are lazy, easily indoctrinated leftists who don't want to work a real job, and you love the ease that comes with bitching about other people having more money than you, working harder than you, and just being better than you. And whenever you see a disparity, you never ask about whether, well, that disparity is due to hard work and ethical considerations. Nope, those rat bastards benefited unfairly, and I'm going to go champion the poor and be popular and write articles, and then I'm going to say, we should take those people's money and give it to the other people's money so those other people's like me more. That's it. That's all journalism is today. They are an arm of the Democrat Party. So to answer your question, why doesn't CNN see its popularity? They never cared. Now, for a while, it makes sense, because if you want to make money, you tell the sheep what they want to hear. It's not your fault that you had 5 illegitimate rat bastard children, made it in stupid crowd, went into credit card debt and can't get out of it. It's your own damn fault. Oh, no. It's fill in the boogeyman of today. It's white people's fault. It's rich people's fault. It's people with penile fault. It's anybody but your fault. That sells. All right? But when you constantly harp on the Russia, that's the politics taking over. And you have to understand. I thought the left couldn't hate anyone more than George Bush Jr. And then Trump came along, and I am not a big fan of Trump, but the number one thing I like about Trump is he has got the left going apeshit. And if you look at these journalists, all of them, they are not used to having someone say, fuck off. They just can't believe that someone's that arrogant and cocky, that they're more arrogant and cocky than they are. And so when you have a guy just like, screw you, give them the finger, doesn't invite them to the parties, and they come from pampered little entitled lives like Jeffrey Zucker did, oh, are they pissed? Oh, there's insult to injury there for them. So they gotta take Trump down. They have to. It's their political genetics. It's what they live off of. And if you look at most leftists, they have nothing else but their politics. They're not engineers. They're not doctors. They're not cardiologists like Jeff's dad was. They're not mechanics. They're not masseuses. They're not nail salon people. They don't do anything but bitch and whine and try to come up with excuses and rationalizations to give one group of people the money of others. That's all they have. It's the religion, and when nobody honors the religion, especially when you're president of the United States, you say, fuck off. Oh, then it shows that it's a mirror looking right at them like you have no value. Well, that can't just be in their minds. So Trump is this, I want you to say, political enemy. He's almost this existential, philosophical entity that if he's existing, rubbing their faces in it, just what worthless people they are, they can't stand it. I mean, you look, it's kind of the funny thing, like Jeffrey Zucker has his, he's totally rich, he's fine. But take a look at all these Salon, or what's the other one? Jezebel, not Jezebel. Salon, or look at these rank leftist online publications and then look at their authors and see how many Twitter followers they have. These are people that are working for, Garnet Publishing, I think, owns some of them. These are legitimate publishing. They are journalists, but if you look at their followership, it's horrible. It's nothing. They're nobodies. Especially all these gals who live in New York City, because you have to live in New York City. Oh my God. And they write for women's magazines or Jezebel or Feminist. And they have like 2,000 Twitter followers. They got even less than me, and I'm a nobody schmo. And then you find out, oh, they're part-time, they're working at all these other different places, and by the way, the rich dad or their husband pays for all their shit. And they make believe that they're journalists. And they live in a delusional world. They live in a delusional world that has no basing in reality. And Trump, and now online media types like me who don't really do this as our main, we're not journalists, the internet alone is exposing these people for the hacks that they are. And especially now that you have the internet, it is destroying the mainstream media. Newspapers, I love it when I see articles about these baby boomers complaining that they're getting laid off, like these actual journalists who went out and I'm going to become the next people that brought down Nixon, whatever those guys were. And all they were rank hippie propagandists, leftist arms of the Democrat Party. And now they can't work at the newspaper anymore because there's no money in newspapers anymore. Shoot, the kid with the blog or the YouTube channel says, we're racing frogs, got 2 million views or whatever. And here's like this diehard hippie leftist who's dedicated his or her entire life, and they just didn't make the switch. Because the internet, for whatever it's done, it's at least taken away attention from the mainstream media. And now the eyeballs are glued to anything else. All right? Hey, let's blow up stuff, blow up YouTube.com. So they are being reminded constantly of how worthless and pointless they are. And I think Trump is the epitome of that reminder. And they just have to take him down. Not only so they're not reminded as to how pointless and biased they are, but also it's their political genetics to go after right-wingers. And that's all they've done. That's all they've known in their life. So, and they're not going to go and you think they're going to go, you think any of these gals with their 2,000 Twitter followers talking about how you had your tongue split forked and that's a fashion statement and big is beautiful. You think they're going to take the time to go to a programming boot camp and learn Python and C# and get a real job? No. So that's why CNN it's not a for-profit entity first and foremost. It just isn't. It is a political entity first and foremost, that just happened to be making money along the way. Now, who's the guy? Not Fonda. Who's the guy Ted Turner, who married Jane Fonda? He had a good idea there, like, hey, let's get real-time news. That was groundbreaking, but now it's just turned into a political entity. And I don't know what's happening to CNN's ratings. I don't watch the news anymore because I don't like watching fake news. I don't need this bullshit. I don't like to be lied to. But I'm sure, especially with the internet, there are more eyeballs glued to their phones and their laptops than there is the cable news. And thank God, because CNN, I'd even say a little bit of Fox, they should be ashamed of themselves as to how political and so far removed from actual journalism and reporting the truth. So, all right, that's it. You guys got questions, go to assholeconsulting.com as you got money. Donate to my Patreon account because it really pisses off this one guy. You got a Patreon. You say, oh my God, you're just a traitor. You're out there begging. They're like, yeah, so if you want to donate to Patreon, please do. But otherwise, go through my Amazon affiliate program. The links are all down below. And buy some of my books. That way you actually get something in return. But everyone else like, hey, do you got Patreon? I'm like, yeah. Do you want to buy my stuff on Amazon? Well, I really don't want to buy a lot of stuff. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll go set it up. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.